My name's Horton and I'm an application engineer for our 3D documentation team here at FARO UK. During this tutorial, what I'd like to do is show you the new features of our Video Pro 1.1 app working in scene 5.4. The key features of the app include an automatic path creation for videos, where we can do a view along a path based on scanner positions, a view around a path, and we can now add in a bird's eye view. In addition to this, we can now drag and drop within the video path rather than having to use the buttons within the system. We can add a watermark option in there, so we can add in company logos. We can now choose as to whether we output video or image output or both at the same time. And we've also got improved speed due to parallelization. Now if we go over to FARO Scene 5.4, firstly the project I've chosen is Minster Lovell in Oxford, which if some of you have seen on my YouTube channel, I've used as an example movie thanks to English Heritage allowing us to scan the location. So in here I've done nothing more than to load in a select number of scans, which you can see on the screen now. So what we're going to do now is look at this as a backdrop for the new features of the Video Pro 1.1 app. This movie follows on from my previous movie where I covered Video Pro in more detail, and what I'm going to try and do is just specifically concentrate on the new features of 1.1. So if you haven't gone through the basics, please watch that movie before watching this one. If you've already got the app installed and you need to upgrade it, then we do it in exactly the same way as previously shown. You remove your existing 1.0 app and then download the Video Pro 1.1 app from our App Store and install it. As long as you've got the license for Video Pro, this should automatically install and recognize the full license. The icon looks exactly the same, so the first feature we're going to go through is on the drop down menu. As you can see here, we've got a number of extra options. The first one of which is to create a path from scanner positions with a view along the path. This does depend on how systematic you've done your scans, and which in this particular example it was a relatively straightforward process. All I'm going to do is choose that option there, and what the system will instantly do is under my viewpoints menu it will create a series of auto viewpoints and we'll have looking along the camera path. These now have been automatically added into our camera path settings. It's given us a length of the path, and as you can see we've got our viewpoints in here based on our scan locations over on the left. So whilst we're in here, I can also use another new feature, which instead of using the move up or down arrows, I can drag and drop the scans to the locations within the camera view paths. So literally just by picking them up I can move them around to be wherever I want them to be. Before we create the path, we've also got a new option here where we can create a spline interpolation along the video viewpoints, or we can actually do a path which excludes the video viewpoints, i.e. it moves around the path and it will physically move left and right as we're looking at that path. I'm just going to leave it on this one for now. I'm going to save the path and call it number 1, and I'm going to go into my settings. In here as well, what we've also got now is the ability at the bottom to save either video, images, or video and images. For those of you that have used the Video Pro 1 app, you'll remember that we could only ever create video and images, of which when using it I used to always go and delete the images. But now we can just create the video. We've got the same options up here for WMV or MP4. We've got the same resolution, frame rates and bit rates, nothing's changed there. In addition to that, we've also got a watermark option. So if I enable this watermark now and click customize, we can go and browse for our company logo, which is there. The company logo appears in the window, so we can resize that logo to be any size or any location we want, just by clicking on the corner handles or picking it up and placing it in the top left, top right, so on and so forth. That will now permanently appear on our video when we output the video. So if I click OK, what I'm going to do now is quickly look at a preview of this particular path. You can see in the background it's created my path for me. So if I click preview video and click OK, the first thing you'll notice is because of the scanner location and where the scanner stopped and started, that's the position that your camera will physically go from. So you can see here all it's doing is working its way through the building based on the scanner positions that I did during the scan process. So if I stop that one and close it and then close the dialog box, I'm not going to save my camera settings for now. The next one is the option to move around the path. What you might find using scanner positions along a path is it's sometimes too rigid and it follows that specific path of where the scanners are. What I prefer to do if I'm using this option is I use the scanner positions around a path. So in effect it's a little bit more like using a video camera. As you're walking around a scene with a video camera, you're tending to pan left and right to capture all of the scene, and that's the result you'll get by moving around a path. So same process as before. We click on the option. It instantly now adds in another set of viewpoints into our viewpoint settings, and over on the right hand side we can see that we've got the options again where we can move these around, reshuffle them to reorder. So if I just check what I've got here, so I've got all those in order. Again, I can preview the path before I go any further, and this time it's moving around the camera paths. So you can see as we go through the archway now, it's tending to look left and right and look in a different location for where we're going. So we're introducing what I refer to as a natural sway within the camera path, and I find it a lot easier to view and understand. So again, we'll finish that off, click stop. We'll then close that dialog box, say no for now. We'll go back to the Video Pro app again, and this time we're going to create scanner positions as a bird's eye view. Again, clicking on that, we just narrow these down a little bit. We now have a series of bird's eye views, and over on our camera path settings, these have automatically been added. If we preview the path in the main view, if we zoom out, you can see exactly what it's done. It's put a bird's eye view around our scanner positions. So what it's actually doing is looking for the extremities of the scanner positions and trying to best fit a circle around that area. And this time if we press play, what we're doing is looking down at the top from a bird's eye view. So once again, we're just going to stop that. The beauty of this is we can now start to mix and match the viewpoints either by automatically created ones or manually created ones using the viewpoint tool as I've previously shown. So what I'm going to do now is do a combination of a bit of everything. So we're going to remove all those. First off, we're going to look for the bird's eye view. What I'm going to do is just test in which direction we're going to first. So let's preview the path of this. So I'm going to the right. I actually want to go the other way around. So if we close that dialog box, rather than reverse all these, I'm just going to remove them, and then we're just going to go and drag these in one at a time. And I think the one I want to stop at is about number 5. So we've got our bird's eye view. Next, I'm going to use the looking around viewpoints that we created earlier, which are here. So first one we want is number 2, then number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 to 14. And as you can see, I'm just dragging and dropping these. So this time if we preview the path, hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to get a bird's eye view going in the opposite direction to what the system originally created. And then as we come back around the monument, you'll see already in the background that the path is starting to drop down and link directly in to the path we created by the scanner positions around the path. So we're using a combination of both. I do this quite often now using this particular version because it just makes the speed of creating a movie a lot quicker. So now we're onto the path where the scanner locations were, and we're moving around and through the building exactly the same way as we were doing before. So we've just stopped the movie at that position rather than watch it all the way through. Close the dialog box again. So hopefully now you can see, using a combination of automatic viewpoints, we can very quickly create a movie as long as we've scanned it in a sensible fashion. Or, as you can see here, I've taken some scans out, hence I haven't got sequential numbers in my scan positions. Now we've got our movie set up, I'm going to save the path and call it final, so I know that when I do come back to it, this is the final movie that I'd recorded, and click save. Click on the next button as I've shown you previously, and now we're going to set up some of the parameters. So first thing to choose is whether we want to create images or video or both. I'm just going to choose the video option, which grays out the folder option for the images. I'm going to choose to create a movie as MP4. choose my scan location. In here, what I tend to do, because I do some post-editing sometimes, is I call it video pro underscore raw. That way I know it's the raw data or the raw movie that's come directly out of scene. I then choose what my resolution is, so I always tend to go for 1920 by 1080. Frame rate depends on yourself and your number of camera positions. I'm probably just going to drop this down to 25 frames per second at the moment. And then your length of your movie. So for this one, I think that we'll probably get away with about a 45-second movie, so 1125 frames. I'm going to turn on the new feature to enable the watermark and click customize. I'll then browse for that watermark, which is located there. I'm going to position that in the bottom right hand corner and then click OK. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to click on the save option here so that I can save my settings. So if I click save, it creates the VAP file, so at any point we can come back and use these same settings again. So click save there. So now I've got everything set up, my normal process will be to go off, reboot my machine, turn off everything that I don't need to be running, and then run the video overnight. I don't need to worry about that as much these days because of the improvements in speed, but I still find sometimes I get a better result if I'm not doing other work on the same machine. So if I go through that process now, I've already saved my camera path. I'm going to go into my visibility settings, which I've covered before in the previous movie, but just check that I've got my super sampling on. These days I tend to prefer super sampling of 2x2. We can also modify the point spacing size, which was introduced into 5.4, so we've got adaptive or fixed. One thing to always check as well, that you've got your scanner positions turned off. Click OK. So imagine now I've rebooted my machine, I'm ready to record my movie. All I need to do is to create a video from a path. We know we called it final, so I load that in. Click load to load in my settings, and there's my final VAP file. Click OK, and everything is loaded into the system exactly the same as we had it before. So when we're ready and we want to start recording, we just press start. The system will go away now, calculate the amount of time required to finish off the movie, and record that movie out as an MP4. In the preview now, you can see the location of the FARO logo in the bottom right hand side. So obviously according to this, it's going to take 1 hour and 42 minutes. I'm currently running this on an old Fujitsu laptop, but I know on a newer laptop, new Dell spec laptop, it will run a lot faster and take advantages of some of the improvements in speed. The creation of that video is now finished, and as you can see on the screen, it only took 20 minutes and 41 seconds, which is significantly faster, especially given them on an older machine at the moment. So the speed enhancements have really been a benefit to the system. So if we go and have a look at that now, here's our video. So straight away you can see we've got our FARO logo in the bottom right hand corner. We're currently rotating around the building, looking at the bird's eye view from the building, and then as we come around the edge, we should then link down to where we joined in to the viewpoints along the camera path. So a little bit of a rotation there based on the orientation of the scanner. What I probably have done at that location is created a manual viewpoint. Also at that one there where we're starting to look inside the wall. Also the smoothness of the video is not particularly great, so I probably increase the number of frames between, and by the looks of it I've also turned on the loop option. So at the last scanner location it's returning back to the start, and so the video continues. So if we just stop that now, go back to scene, that about covers all the new features of the Video Pro app 1.1. I find using the app inside scene really advantageous because you can do everything in one environment. You don't have to save out any views or any scans into a third-party piece of software. You literally go in, register your scans, get everything in a location, apply your colours, and you're straight into creating your viewpoints and then recording your movie in one consistent environment. Thank you for watching. I hope it's been of use, and please feel free to look out for forthcoming movies.